Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. We're GABNET, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Facebook group called Star Trek Discovery. Somebody posted, this was the worst episode ever. It was just a bunch of people on the ship talking. and I just have to say...
Have they not seen Star Trek before?
Yeah, I just have to say, if you are looking for action and explosions, you are likely to be disappointed by Star Trek. May I recommend another viewing of Star Wars?
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern. Join Alex Bennett on The Ramble.
So I just had to bear it as it was trying to heal. And then I would be sleeping on my stomach, and then I would turn around, and it had adhered itself to the sheets. And so whatever scab I had, are you ready for this, folks? Whatever scab I had would get ripped off, and I'd be bleeding like a stuck pig. And so I had to finally, you couldn't put a Band-Aid on it. You know, it was in a place you just had to wait for it to finally take care of itself.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
Well, you know, we have to get rid of Pence as well, because Pence is an end-timer.
You know, and we need to say to Pence, you know, you're damn right. I want a rapture because I want fools like you off of my planet.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
The Jesus guy in San Francisco, when you go down 19th Avenue, the guy with the pink phone.
Okay.
I know you met him before. I know you've seen him before.
Okay, what about him?
The one that says... when you're walking down the street, he walks up to you with a pink phone and he says, Jesus is on the phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he tries to hand it to you, and you're like, wait a second. Now he's walking around with Jimmy Garoppolo's on the phone. You gotta answer.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday, and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
So, Lizzie, you say you never cheated in a relationship.
Nope.
But you do understand cheating. And I'm pretty sure you may have done that in some way, shape, or form, just not in the relationship. You ever cheat on a test? You ever cheat on your diet?
Yeah, my pregnancy.
Yeah. I failed.
Dang it! It says no.
Last test I took, I failed.
Two tests you don't want positive, right? HIV and pregnancy.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GABNET. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett, host of The Ramble, heard here and seen here on GABNET, Tuesday through Fridays, live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I got some big news for you. Our program has moved its live video from Facebook Live to YouTube Live. After extensive tests in our GABNET laboratories of at least 10 minutes, our mind was made up and we've come to the conclusion that YouTube is superior not only in video quality, but audio as well. And then there's the ease of watching it. Here's what you do. Simply point your browser to youtube.com/Bolo Bennett /live. That's youtube.com/Bolo Bennett, BOLOBENNETT /live. And you're there. The player is waiting, and you do nothing, and when the show begins, so does the player. Couldn't be simpler. In fact, tag that page as a permanent tab on your browser, and you're ready to go. And if all of this is too vexing for you, well, just go to gabnet.net near showtime, and the player in the middle of the page will start to play when we're on. We're thrilled with the new quality our move has provided, and while you're there, would you do me a favor and please subscribe to our channel? No, I beg you to. Hey, listen to me, I'm groveling, okay? I know, it's pathetic. I'm sorry, I'm debasing myself, and I really shouldn't be. Please.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome. It is time now for the Ramble, which goes from now until midnight Eastern Time here in the United States of America. If you're anywhere else in the world, check it out. If it's 10 o'clock, shortly after 10 o'clock, well, 10:06 in the city of New York, then adjust for that for wherever you are in this world, and you'll be able to tell whether we're live or not. If we're not live, well, it's still going to be a good show anyway. We're going to have a good time. A little bit later, we'll be talking with our citizens panel. I was going to be presenting an old friend, Will Durst, tonight as our interview for the evening, but unfortunately, I got a note from him this morning saying, "Alex, I'm sorry, I got to cop out on you. I'm sick." You know, I had Bubbles sick once when we were doing it, and now I have Durst. Everybody's got this thing, whatever it is, this crud that's going around the country. Some people are getting it worse than others. Other people are just getting a cold. Some people, other people are getting the actual flu. Now, here's the difference if you want to know whether you got a cold or whether you got the flu. If you're sneezing, if you're choked up, if you've got congestion, and you got to blow your nose all the time, that's probably a cold. The way you can tell if it's a cold or not, take your temperature. If you don't have a temperature or it's just mildly elevated like 99 or something, you do not have the flu. However, if you put the thermometer in your mouth and your temperature is like 100, 101, 102, you're in pretty bad shape. You got the flu. If it goes down to the 3, get yourself to a doctor. You need something. You need something to help you along with this thing. People are dying of this flu within like 3 days. I saw somebody on television tonight who didn't buy Tamiflu. You know, Tamiflu is this drug that miraculously, if you take it within 2 days of coming down with the flu, will at least lessen the effects of it. Okay, if not, just take care of it once and for all. Anyway, there are notes coming through on my phone. Everybody thinks they've got the flu if they're just sneezing and you're feeling kind of, and it's unless you got a temperature, you haven't got the flu. But if you've got the flu, do something about it. Anyway, they didn't buy the Tamiflu because it was $116. And she didn't come down with it. She didn't come down with it until a few days later, and then they went to get tried to get the Tamiflu, and the pharmacy was all out of it, and 3 days later she died. So I don't want to be a bummer here, but if you feel like you have the flu, go do something about it. See your doctor, see a doctor, see several doctors, see every doctor that ever existed, and do something about it. Babies are dying. Adults are dying, but it's and luckily I have not gotten it, and part of the reason is I never go out, so I don't meet with people, and when girlfriend comes home, I put on a gas mask to protect myself because she travels on buses and trains to come home, and that's got to be something bad. Okay. Anyway, so that's the gist of it. And speaking of sick, I'm not sick tonight. I'm feeling okay. And my eyes are tearing a little bit because I tried that stuff again that makes my eyes not have bags. Can you see that? There we go. Not have bags. It kind of burns a little bit, and it's making my eyes tear. So I got to stop using that stuff. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. So I we finally did it. We finally got rid of our old thing, our old thing. How am I going to tell you this story if I don't tell you what it is? It's not a thing. It's health insurance. That's it. See, my wife at work had health insurance through her company, who took out and there are only like 4 people. There are a lot more people in the office that she administers, but in the actual company that she belongs to, which is CITIC Partners, which is owned by one of the biggest banks in China, she got, we simply had a health insurance through her. Now what happens is, because we're both Medicare, and because there are only 4 people in that office, we use Oxford, which was this thing, this medical plan, as our secondary. But they, these insurance companies are thieves, okay? They really are. Or as a better term is the Jewish Yiddish term ganefs, okay? Because what was happening is, when you have Medicare takes care of 80% of your medical costs. So what you need to take care of that other 20% is what's called a supplemental, okay? And they weren't offering supplemental insurance to her company for us. Her company was paying about $21,000 a year to insure the 2 of us. And quite frankly, I never in a year, we're coming up on a year in April, it was the calendar year, I didn't get any money from them. I think for one visit I got something from them, but most of it had to come out of my pocket, all right? Because we had $1,000 deductible, and hell knows, girlfriend goes to doctors a lot, so she eats it up. That means $1,000 out of her pocket, $1,000 out of my pocket, and I never got to that point. Because number one, 80% of the medical expense was already taken by Medicare. All right? Are you following me on this thing? So what's happening basically is all we needed was supplemental coverage. So I get a letter from my union telling me that I am eligible for their medical plan. Their senior medical plan, which would take care of the supplemental, okay, for me and my wife. And the cost of this is about $2,000 a year. That's like $19,000 less than her company was paying. So we looked at the whole situation and we said, we really should go to this other thing, because at least, they'll start taking care of stuff. There won't be so many out-of-pocket expenses, because it's $250 minimum, okay? And $500 for the 2 of us. So that's no problem, all right? That's a no-brainer. Plus they have prescriptions, and they have dental, $2,500 worth of dental a year instead of the normal $1,500. And let's see here, what else? And optical, So, and then all this for, I think it's $183 a month, or $534 a quarter, or anyway, her company is going to write the check on this stuff. And she's saving them a lot of money. What I don't get is how a company like Oxford, knowing full well that we were on Medicare, could still charge $21,000 a year for insurance for us, when they would never ever have to pay anywhere close to that. The only thing that was really probably costing them money was when I was using the using the stuff for drugs, and on some drugs they wouldn't even clear the drug. Okay, so I had to fight with them for it. All right, so we go to this new plan, and the new plan looks okay. It looks fine. It's certainly better than what we had. But then again, death would be better than this plan that we had. So we signed up for it, and it starts on March 1st. The only thing that I feel uncomfortable with, and girlfriend doesn't, because she's really good about these things. I'll take care of it. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Okay. Is that it's a different kind of prescription medicine thing they've got. Here's the deal. It's something called, wait a minute, I got the name right here, Express Scripts. You ever heard of that? I never heard of them. But apparently, I talked to somebody and said, oh, they're a very big company. Here's what Express Scripts does. They handle all your prescription medicine for you. Only you have to buy it basically from them. You have to get a 3-month prescription from your doctor for your ongoing medicine. In other words, the stuff you take every day of the year on into eternity, a cholesterol-lowering drug, whatever. And you order 3 months at a time, which I don't mind because, I'm going to spend that money anyway, 1 month at a time, all right? So that's not what's bothering me. But it's the fact that you got to go through. They mail you your medicine, okay, and you subscribe to it. And if I need an antibiotic or something, a doctor just writes a prescription for the antibiotic, and I go to a place that will take this thing, and that does not have to be on the 90-day thing. But here's the catch. I guess a lot of people were bothered by the fact that they had to deal with this company and that they couldn't just walk down to a pharmacy and get their drugs, which you feel far more comfortable doing. I've got, you heard all the times I've griped about how we get deliveries and they don't deliver because they don't even ring the doorbell. I don't want that, when it's the end of the month and I need my drugs. So what they've got is you can go to a drugstore that carries this insurance, that does this insurance thing, and it's only at Walgreens. Luckily, I have a Walgreens, it's called Community by Walgreens, about a block and a half from me, so it's no big problem. But it's just the whole thing about it, I have to have my doctor now write 3-month prescriptions, or he can probably write 6 months, or he can give me 12 months worth or whatever, and then when I guess it's time for renewal, they simply let the doctor know and they renew another 3 months. But what happens is I've got to use Walgreens now. I can't, CVS does take this particular insurance, but our union does not prescribe to it doing it through anybody but Walgreens. So thank God there's a Walgreens close to me. Or girlfriend's thinking of just, having them mail the drugs to her every 3 months, So I'm going to see what's best to do, in that case. But I don't feel comfortable about it because, number one, I've got one drug, Cialis, which I take, not for getting a boner, but I take it because it helps with my BPH, my, enlarged prostate, and allows me to pee like a racehorse. And yes, there are other drugs that will do that, but I didn't tolerate them too terribly well. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so we're talking about the thing. Okay, well, I'm trying to do a few things here, so while I'm talking to you at the same time. So I have to get what they call a what do they call it? It's an exception or something. I can't remember. An okay for this drug, which they'll probably do because my other insurance, Oxford, did it as well. I can't remember what it's called now. It's called, there's a term for it, and I've been using it for the last couple of days, and now that I'm trying to remember it, I can't. Something exception. So you get the drug, and you have all these exceptions to it, and so on and so forth, and it's good. It's terrific, yeah. So I've got to get that with one drug of mine, which I desperately need. So nobody's chatting tonight. Why is nobody chatting? Oh, well, hell with you, you're not chatting. So anyway, But I feel uncomfortable about this. I don't know why. It's really the old person in me that feels uncomfortable with it. If I were in my 20s, I go, so I got to send away for 3 months? Okay, I'll send away. Or I'll go down to Walgreens. I have one near me, and I'll just get the 3 months worth. It's no big deal. Call my doctor and tell him to do it. But I don't get the concept entirely, all right? So I don't know if any of you out there have the same situation going. This is very strange. By now, there's usually people that are using the live chat on YouTube, and they're not using it. Because I figured somebody would tell me what that's called. Anyway, let's see. Top chat, and I don't want that. Okay, so we'll go to all messages are visible. Okay, let's go to live chat. All right, but nobody seems to be writing anything. So I guess nobody wants to talk to me tonight. Let me just write something to everybody. Hi. Okay. There we go. I know it's working. All right. So anyway, screw it. Where was I? Oh yeah. I can't get used to this thing, and I know a lot of you probably do this. You have this particular service, or most like Oxford and Blue Cross and all of them who do pharmacy stuff. Have the same thing. You can do a 90-day thing, and they send you your drugs once every 90 days, and they call your doctor when they need a refill on the prescription, and it's all taken care of. So I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do it, and I feel like, and then I go in to talk to like this place, this Walgreens, to ask them about it, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, I don't even know what it is exactly I want to know. So that gets weird. So anyway, it's all this new stuff that I've got to deal with. Okay, listen, I got to reach back here. That's really nice. I should have gotten it before I came on the air. I have a couple of items. I did what most people do, which is called prep. Only I never do prep because I don't know what I'm going to do next on this show. I didn't even know that I was going to come on and tell you about that medical thing, which lost everybody. They just went away. We just lost a ton of them. Oh, here we go. They say 3-month RX is cheaper. That's according to Candace. Oh, really? Oh, okay. It is? Okay. If anybody else is doing it, I would love to know, because they say it is cheaper. Now, of course, I know that Candace happens to be in Canada, so, I mean, Candace, you got it good up there. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so I got a story here. Where is this? I don't need that story. I'm going to do that story later. Here we go. Well, this is the one. I don't know how this showed up where I got it. I have this site I go to, and they send me regular mailings and things like that called TV Week, which is all about broadcasting and what's going on. And I can, we have things about prosecutors have 3 cases against Weinstein and Steve Bannon's new book, and it's all media stuff. And then there was this story, and I don't know why it wound up on TV Week, but it is the story that I wish this would happen to Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr. likes to go to Africa and kill animals for their pelts. And let me listen to this. The mostly eaten remains of a man found over the weekend are believed to be the body of a poacher who was apparently attacked and killed by lions at a private game park just outside Kruger National Park in South Africa. All I can think about is the lions got even with him. The local Eyewitness News website reports that Limpopo police found a rifle and ammunition next to the body on Friday. It was reported earlier that authorities thought the body belonged to the driver of a tractor who had gone missing, but he's since been found alive. Local police spokesman Mochi Ngapi, Hope I pronounced that right, because if I ever meet up with Mochi Nagapi, he'll say, no, it's pronounced Ngopi. Anyway, is quoted in the media saying, it seems the victim was poaching in the game park and then was attacked and killed by lions. They ate his body, nearly all of it, and left his head and some remains. You know, I can see one lion looking at the other lions and, why aren't you eating the head? The head's the best part. Anyway, he added, we are now waiting for a person from the family, but we're also utilizing our investigative resources to see if we can successfully identify the deceased. I guess they must have gotten some of his face, because they certainly, they got a head, but maybe they don't have a face. The Home Affairs Department is also working to help identify the man. I think that's a great story, because I've always hated hunters, and I've always hated people who kill animals. It just always bothered me a great deal. And when I read about this, I just said, you know, I can just see it. The lions are probably going, listen, the next time this son of a bitch comes back to kill us, we'll just turn the tables on him. And they did. And the guy is dead. Good. Just let the remains stay there and rot. Let whatever buzzards there are left to eat to have their time, okay? Rob Alfano writes, although he might call later, it's cheaper here too. I've been using Express Scripts for about 6 years. Well, maybe if you can call tonight, Rob, you can explain it to me, because I just, you know, it kind of scares me. But I probably don't have any reason to be frightened. I probably am just fine. You know, it's just when you're old, you need your meds, you know? Okay. Let me see here. Anything else happened in the last couple of days? Well, I'll talk about it tonight, but, you know, I have been on this whole thing about the Me Too movement, and how, while I believe in the cause, I think it's kind of gone overboard now, and a lot of people who may be innocent are getting hurt. And the other day, the president tweets exactly that. Although he then went on to say a few other things, and all it turned out being was self-serving because of the people around him, and also some of the allegations against him. But the sentiment was correct. It's like, you know, the stopwatch being right twice a day. Well, it happened the other day, because in the first paragraph, he said that true or false allegations, you know, are ruining lives. I don't even think he wrote that. It was just so well written that I don't think he wrote it. I think somebody said, here, we'll write it for you and we'll just post it as you, because we don't want to leave it to you to write it, because you will then drive everybody crazy, okay? The rest of it kind of, and I don't have it here, it was kind of self-serving, all right? But that was the gist of it. But that was the big thing over the week. And let's see here. Anything else? Nah, that's about it. I say we go to the citizen panel, okay? Because people are tuning out listening to me talking. I shouldn't do these talks anymore. As I say, I was supposed to have a dear friend, our dear friend, oh boy, my mind is just so screwed. We're supposed to have a person to talk to tonight, and they got sick. So, you know. Where am I? Okay, let me I just turned on the phone lines, the Skype lines. If you don't know how to call this program, go to gabnet.net. You won't even have to miss the program if you're watching on video, because you go over there and it's playing there too, okay? How do we do that? Video magic, okay? And you go over there, and on the right-hand side of the page is just a whole tutorial, very simple, on how you can call this program using Skype. If you don't want to use Skype, at the very bottom, there's a phone number you can call. You know how to use the phone, don't you? Yeah, okay. It's very simple. The only thing you won't have is the fun of seeing the other people in the group, and you won't have the ability to have people see you. But then again, maybe you're so ugly you don't want people to look at you. But our lines are open, and we're waiting for our first caller to call us tonight and see who that is. Let's see, will it be Phil? Will it be Rob? Will it be Scott? Will it be nobody? And then I can go back to sleep when I feel like it. Anyway. So our number here is, if you have Skype, is Skype Live is our ID, okay? And the easy way to take care of this is to go up to Contacts, go to Add Contacts, put in GabNet Live. Then I will receive a request from you to make you a contact, and I'll make you a contact, and that makes it very easy for us to put you in with the rest of the people. Otherwise, I have to go through a whole bunch of other Michigas in order to pull it off. So anyway, I'm sitting here waiting for the... Oh, and there he is, the first caller, ladies and gentlemen. And what does the first caller win? Absolutely nothing. Wait a minute. Oh, there, you got it. Took care of it. Hello, Rob.
How are you?
That's Rob Alfano. So you have this Express Scripts?
Yeah, I don't have Express Scripts anymore. I have one called Optum RX now. Same thing. It is the easiest, cheapest way you're going to get your drugs. You don't have to do anything. Your doctor is going to write you, like for me, I have the Synthroid, right? I have to take my thyroid. So it's, every day. So he'll do what they typically do is they write you 2 or 3. It depends on your doctor. Like they want to see me every 6 months. Yeah. So he'll write 3-month prescriptions, and so it'll be 1 3-month with a renew. Yeah. And then I have to call the doctor and say, okay, I'm running out. Do you want to see me? He goes, is everything okay? And then he'll renew it. Either he wants to see me or he'll have to renew it. But
they get
I'm sorry, it doesn't come automatically. It just, but when I'm looking at my pills, I go, oh, I've got about 10 or 15 left, whatever. Yeah. I go on. Yeah. They have a nice app for your phone.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm getting a slap back here. Also, you might turn off your camera and start it again, Rob. For some reason, you're spinning. Let me see now. Are we okay? Oh, there we go. There goes the slap back is gone now. There. No, that's your picture. And there you go. Okay. So let me ask you. Wait, hold on a second, Phil. I'm getting medical advice from Rob. So what happens is they call my doctor when it needs renewal, right?
No. What you do is like you do normally, right? You look at your pill vial and you go, I got 30 days supply. You look at your pill vial and you go, I got to renew this, right?
Yeah, but you can go online and renew it.
Yeah, I have an app for my phone.
Yeah.
You go right to the app, and they have what they call the medicine chest, your medicine chest, your wife's medicine chest, and you just select whatever it is that you want to renew, and it'll tell you if you have any renewals or you're going to need to contact the doctor, right? So you're just going to press renew, you hit the button, and then if there's a copay or whatever, it's automatically charged to your credit card, and you get an email saying it's on its way, and then it just shows up in your mail. It's awesome.
Really?
It's really awesome. It's cheaper.
Does it show up in your mailbox?
It's not a delivery like FedEx or anything. It comes with the mail.
Really? Son of a bitch. Well, it's something. Also, you see, the reason I could use Walgreens is because they will do the 90-day thing. In other words, you can either go online or you can use them. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
In other words, the price is as cheap as if you went through the insurance company to do it.
I tell you what, it's just so easy. You don't have to go anywhere. And you know what's annoying especially with CVS is that fucking phone call that never ends. And that when they call you, the robocall you get from them, it annoys the crap out of
I don't get a robocall from CVS.
Oh, CVS always robocalls me.
They text me.
Oh, I get a robocall. Either way, it's just annoying. It's like, I know. Yeah. God forbid I don't if you get a prescription and it's ready.
I think you can turn.
I think
you can turn that off though.
Well, maybe I don't know. Just
now,
annoying.
if you have a singular thing like an antibiotic you have to have because you have an infection, that you just go down to any drugstore and it takes this particular insurance and
Or if something happens, like for example, I'm about to run out of my Synthroid. I had to change doctors. I went for a physical this week, and tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I have to be there for blood work. I'm going to run out of Synthroid. So they're going to send a 30-day to my local pharmacy, which I'll go. It'll be the CVS here. I'll go pick it up. And then they automatically send the prescription. You tell them this is my prescription, and they know that everything is computerized, and the prescription automatically goes directly to Express Scripts for you.
So in other words, all I have to do, all my doctor has to do is put, this is renewable. This prescription.
Yeah, just like any prescription, they usually put down on the prescription if it's renewable for how many refills you get, right?
Well, they tell you how many refills you can get, and then it has to be renewed.
If it's renewed,
then if I go online and I check renew it, they get a hold of my doctor and get it renewed, right. And that's what happens here too.
I've had times where I thought I had another renewal, and I pressed the button on Express Scripts, and you get an email from them saying, "We contacted your doctor. You need to call your doctor. They're not going to renew it for you."
Okay, but they do call the doctor and ask for the renewal. So well, I never have a problem that way.
Yeah, no, I have to go. They want to see me. In fact, this doctor, she told me that she wants to see me. The other guy was.
Don't you have the feeling though that your drugs are being held for ransom? Really, I'm serious.
Being held for blood. They want blood from me in 6 months. And she told me, and the other doctor didn't do this. Anytime, like she told me, I had a physical the other day, and it was no more finger up the ass, which was nice. But she told me the way she works is that after I get the blood work, she'll know by tomorrow afternoon. Mm-hmm. And if I get a letter from them, then everything is fine. The Synthroid will be done through the automatic thing, and I'll get a letter from them saying everything was great. She said, "We will call you if there's anything else." So that's how it works.
Wow.
Otherwise,
okay. So what happens is. He gives me 3 refills for the 90 days, right, or the 90 days worth, and then maybe another refill for that. And then if it needs to be renewed, I just say, go ask the doctor to renew it, and then they do the call. They do all that work.
What they do is they have a computer system that links into these companies. They just send it. There's no phone calls.
Yeah, he sent a notification to him that I need to have it renewed.
Scripts.
Yeah.
So, there's no phone calls.
Yeah, well, I just have to decide which way I want to get it. It seems more convenient to me to go down to the Walgreens to pick it up, But how much money do you save doing that?
I don't know what the regular cost is, but because I just don't. But I know my company mandates that if you're going to have any kind of, if you need a 30-day, a prescription for an antibiotic, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's any recurring medication. You have to use the 90-day services now because it's cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe this will save me money. I don't know.
It's just my I don't know if you have a copay or not, but I have like a $10 or $5 copay.
Well, it depends on the drug.
It does.
If I have a high-priced drug, it's 25% of the cost of the drug is the copay. But on other drugs that are below a certain amount, it's like $10. But you only have one drug you take, right?
Yeah. Well, I was taking. Remember, I was on for a while there. I tried the Cialis thing for the BPH, right? And then I was also on the.
Well, that's the one that I'm going to have to get the exception for. You have to get I forget what it's called. Do you know what it's called, Phil?
Yeah, I think it is called an exception.
Yeah.
When you want a certain drug, where they're not giving you the generic.
Yeah. No, not the generic. Not the generic. I'm talking about when a certain drug, they want to go and you have to get an exception or whatever.
I do the same thing at Kaiser for the BPH. You get the Cialis. They don't want to give it to you, so the doctor writes, a
note saying you got a prostate the size of a baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it once I have the prostate torn out, but
you won't need it.
Yeah, well,
you
maybe.
won't need it. Well, you might need it.
Go back to Viagra.
But like I was looking at a form you have to fill out, and they won't give it if you just want it for hard-ons.
Right.
It has to be for BPH as well.
It's a different strength anyway.
Yeah, it's a smaller strength.
Yeah, I was getting 20s and cutting them into 4.
By the way, welcome to the old Codger Show, folks. We're talking about boner pills now.
You've got a thing on the Gabnet main page about how to get on Skype and so forth. Why don't you put one on about how to order pills?
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, so this is a whole new world to me. You know, I just got, I went down to the store and I paid for the pills and I took them home. But
I felt the same way you did, and I didn't like it at first. But now, it's just so much easier to manage because everything is right there. The app is really easy to use. Yeah. It's on your phone. Boom, bing, bang, bong. You're done. You pick up your pills one morning and you go, hey, I've got 10 pills left. Boom, boom, boom. You ordered it. It's done.
Well, this company says that at the end of the 90 days, if they have another prescription or they need another one, they call your I guess they call your doctor and say, hey, do you want to renew this? And they just do it automatically and send it to you. You don't have to ask for it. That's what they say.
Thing about Kaiser is that they won't let you order until they say it's time to order.
Right.
Yeah. And they won't do it automatically for one reason or another.
Right. That's the way it was with me. No automatic, and they won't let you order it before. Like you can't order if you're not close, they won't let you order it.
Right. The other thing that bothers me is that like my pills might wind up costing me, I don't know, $600 every 3 months. But I'm paying $200 every month now. It's just the idea of paying the $600 all at once kind of goes. You kind of take a deep breath in. And from what I hear, this one guy at the Walgreens said, "Well, it'll be cheaper. It'll be cheaper." He said, "Not a lot, but it's going to be cheap enough that you'll be happy." Hello, Patrick. How are you? And hello, Phil. Yes, Patrick. How are you?
Just dandy.
Yeah. So I'm just talking about my new medical plan that I'm trying to get used to.
And you can't go to CVS, which is owned by Aetna. And
well, the CVS carries Express Scripts. In other words, if I went there for an antibiotic, for instance, I would be just fine. They would accept it and all of that and whatever for like a one-time prescription. But for this 90-day plan, I have to go to Walgreens because they administer that for Express Scripts.
And you have to lay out the dough before they reimburse you? Is that how it works? Is that what you're saying it's 600 instead of 200?
No. This is for the prescription medicine. Her company's paying for the insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 600 is the cost of the insurance.
No, it's the cost of the copays on the pills.
Yeah. Oh. So the copay is higher?
That's what he's paying now.
Well, because I have that many medicines I'm taking, and Cialis happens to be the most expensive one. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sure, I'm paying about $196 a month for my drugs.
I see.
Okay, but I've been doing that all along. But that's cheaper than if I paid full price for the drug.
Not to fuel this conversation more, but if you go on Cialis's website, you can get a $200 coupon.
I know, so agree.
Just once, though.
Just once, yeah. I've never used it. I'm wondering if I could.
Yeah, but it's going to be fine. I'm sure I'm not going to die. At least from this, but I probably will from something that Trump is going to do.
Give it a try, and if you don't like it, you go to Walgreens.
Well, no, yeah. It's just I don't. You say it comes by mail, and can they shove it all in my mailbox? Because if they can't, I've got these assholes. Okay, these fucking assholes that at the local post office that are constantly going, I want to get home to dinner. I'll just say that nobody was home. They
don't ring the bell. They fit it in your. Well, at least for me, anyway. They just put it in our mailbox.
Do you have a small mailbox or a huge mailbox?
It was like like one of these, like one of them short ones with a door open like this. Now I have a regular mailbox, but
so I guess they could fill. Prescriptions are small.
They're just files. Yeah, that's all.
Of course, they're 90 pills.
Yeah, stole the.
Do you know what we're talking about here, Jeff? Let me talk to the other Altacaca in the room.
I take 9 different pills.
Yeah, but now, and how do you buy them? Do you buy them with these 90-day things from a...
No, I don't.
You get them once a month, right?
I try to keep them down. They always want me to automate it.
Yeah.
I don't like to do it because over the year, I usually add a couple of pills and take a couple away. And sometimes I find I had 3 months, and it was because the doctor just changed the drug, or this one would be better, or whatever. And now I got 90 pills, and what am I going to do with them?
I don't blame
They won't really take them.
Now, if I wanted...
no, they don't. They don't take them back.
If I wanted to use the insurance company, their thing, just have them send it to me, okay? How does he get it? Does my doctor just sends the prescriptions to the company, to the insurance company?
Well, first of all, I go everything through the one university.
Yeah.
Which means that all the doctors I go to.
Yeah.
And I think there must be 7.
No, but what I'm asking is Rob, because he was doing it. When you get your prescription, does your doctor then send it to the insurance company?
Yeah, you never see it.
In
they
other
just
words,
ask you what's your preferred method, and you say Express Scripts, and they say fine. So when you leave the doctor's office, if he's writing you that's what.
Well, I'm going to have to call my doctor and just say send all my prescriptions to this place.
Yeah,
write up
fine.
a new one for all these places. They know how to send it to this company, I suppose.
Right. It's all electronic.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Electronic.
Anyway, it's fun.
A lot of the doctors don't do anything. If they have a nurse, they might have the nurse take care of.
Oh, I have a nurse who does all this at my doctor's
Sure, the
office.
doctor doesn't do it, but the doctor's office does it.
Yeah, but it's a kind of a it's a whole new thing for me, and at my age I don't need whole new things. See, I even have the card for the Walgreens here so that I can go see them. They have these little things called Community by Walgreens, and it's not a drugstore. It's just a pharmacy. That's all. That's all they do. So I feel kind of comfortable with that because I went in, there was nobody there. I did this long line like I do at CVS where I have to bring my iPod and hope that I have enough music in it to keep me, my iPhone, enough music in it to keep me going while I wait in this line at CVS.
Kaiser, when I do have to go to the pharmacy, has a blocking thing for your phone. So you're unable to get onto the internet.
Oh, really?
That's fine. If you want to watch entertainment on the phone, or if you want to, surf the web,
it's just another boring service of Kaiser.
Kaiser.
Or my friend Larry Bubbles Brown, best line of all time. He lost us. Kaiser as an advertiser with this line. He used to do weather on my show, traffic. And one morning it was brought to you by Kaiser, and he said, "This traffic cast has been brought to you by Kaiser Permanente, another name for doctor-assisted suicide."
Yeah, probably not a good thing to say.
Next thing we know, ring, ring, we're canceling. Boom.
They're very sensitive.
Yeah, they're a little sensitive to the jokes.
Yeah.
Well, I always believed in advertising that if we made a joke of Kaiser and they canceled, they would look like a bad guy. But if they didn't cancel, they would look like a really good guy. Mm-hmm. And what I used to do, I used to tell advertisers that would come on and want me to do a live pitch for their product, because I was known for selling a lot of product. Like I sold more Vermont teddy bears in one holiday season than anybody in the United States. And that included Howard Stern, who had a whole network of stations listening to him. And I did it because I would in some ways insult the product. I would kid around with the product, like a Vermont teddy bear, the perfect thing to get your girlfriend. The gift that keeps on saying, "I'm sorry I had sex with your best friend," things like that. And they didn't mind at all because all of a sudden the phones would start ringing in Vermont buying teddy bears.
Alex, the teddy bear didn't work for that situation. I can guarantee you.
Oh, you tried?
Yeah, of course.
By the way, tomorrow is the worst day of my life.
I know what it is.
What is it?
Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Valentine's Day.
It is let's be honest, guys, it is the holiday that strikes terror into the hearts of every male human being.
If I don't get a card and flowers tomorrow, I'll never live it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you don't get any flowers or a card,
I don't get shit.
You don't get shit, and she gets everything. Now, where was that written in the book? Yes, Patrick.
The little irony for those of us who are Catholic, tomorrow is the beginning of Lent. That's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And think about it. If you know anything about the beginning of Lent, you have to abstain from certain things. And there are some people that abstain from sex. Well, with Valentine's Day tomorrow, that's usually a pretty sexually productive day for a lot of men.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt there's going to be many Catholics giving up sex this year for Lent.
Right.
You know what Lent is in Yiddish?
What?
It's puch. It means belly button lint.
And for those of you who may not believe in Jesus and the risen Christ, Easter falls on April Fools.
Yep.
Oh,
no. It's ridiculous this year. So I got to put up with my atheist friend just ribbing me some more that, yeah, see, April Fool, yeah.
Do you care to share what you're going to abstain from this Lent?
Yeah, actually, I put it on Facebook. Let me bring it up here.
What, you can't remember?
Well,
it was well written.
Extensive list.
Wow, extensive list.
All right, number 1, walking. Number 2, hooking up with Craigslist honeys.
Yeah.
Number 3, getting and staying drunk 24/7.
Yeah.
Number 4, streaking from my garage and back.
Now, wait a minute. Are these the things you're giving up for Lent?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. And number 5, watching Battlefield Earth weekly. And, number 6, eating raw chicken. So
there you go.
Eating raw chicken.
Yeah, I don't give in. I'm Catholic, but I'm Catholic like some of you are Jewish.
We don't take it to consider. Perfect.
I put the stuff on my eyes tonight, and it's hurting now. The stuff, it's like gritty
stuff.
Yeah, forget it. I don't need it. I just need a facelift, folks. Should I do a GoFundMe for a facelift?
Why not?
And say that for your money, for your contribution, I will send everybody a picture.
Gabnet bucks.
Gabnet bucks. Picture. Yeah.
But is it more of an insult if a lot of people give you money to do that?
Well,
it's like, what are they actually saying to you? Yeah, you need this, Alex. Here's a.
Anyway, so where was I? Oh, did you hear that story I read earlier about the poacher in South Africa? Yep. God, I love that story. I just love that story. I just imagine these lions sitting around saying, "He's back." Okay, let's show him that we can run faster than he can shoot. And all they left the head.
Yeah.
And as I said, I don't know why. One lion looked at the other and said, "Why did you eat the head? The head's the best part."
You know what? It might have been out of courtesy, so that it was almost like one of them could mount it. Like people mount the heads of animals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the lions want to mount the head.
That you know something, you could be right. Take it back to the den.
Yeah.
Hang it up there. Yeah. But they don't have the art of stuffing down, though, so it might get kind of gamey. You know. But the fact is, they couldn't recognize who the guy was, so they probably chewed off part of his face, too. But I mean, God, it's a great story. I mean, I wish that would happen to Donald Trump Jr. when he goes hunting.
It's Mardi Gras in Louisiana.
New Orleans. Yeah.
Well, because the last day of Lent is Shrove Tuesday or something, or Shrove Wednesday, or is that it?
Last day of
Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday, the day before Lent starts tomorrow on Ash Wednesday.
Lent starts tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. Okay.
And then Lent goes all the way till Easter.
Now, is that when they put the ash on your forehead?
Yeah.
Are you getting that?
I haven't had ash on my forehead in...
And is it?
Let's see, 1989.
Is it ash? It looks like grease paint.
It's ash.
It's supposed to be palms.
Right, palm leaves. It burns palm leaves.
It's the Palm Sunday is the week before, and supposedly they burn the palms for the following week for Ash Wednesday.
So do they go to a store and buy a bag of this stuff? Does somebody make this stuff? Some company?
You go to the fireplace. They take out a bunch of ash.
No, they
stick
don't.
It in a bag.
No, they don't. See, when I first came back to New York, I'm Jewish. I don't understand this whole thing. And all of a sudden, it's Wednesday, and everybody's showing up with smudges on their forehead, and I want to get a little
train, right?
I want to get a little tissue and go.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that, because I have a friend who grew up in Texas, spent his whole life in Texas.
Yeah.
And, down there is not a lot of Catholics. It's mostly Christian, and they don't do Ash Wednesday. And he would come up out of the subway on Ash Wednesday. He came into the office hysterical. He goes, I was walking around going, what the? Look, everybody's got dirt on their foreheads. What
Exactly.
the hell is this?
Exactly. I mean, and of course here in New York, it's a big deal because there are a lot of Catholics.
Yeah.
And the Catholic Church has probably heavier presence here than almost anywhere in the United States. And that meant more molested altar boys too. But, it's kind of weird when all of a sudden you see these people showing up with ashes on their heads. You also, all of a sudden, realize some people are Catholic and that they're Catholic enough that they will get the schmutz on their forehead.
I haven't done it since a teenager.
That's the first time I've ever talked about Ash Wednesday and used the word schmutz. Yes, Jeff.
Well, I remember when I was going to high school, I used to be on the subway, and there was a tremendous number of Puerto Ricans there.
Yeah.
At that time, who really just, I don't know why, it seemed like the population of Puerto Ricans into Brooklyn or whatever, all of a sudden there was zillions of them. Yeah. And the way you could tell that there were Puerto Ricans, because they had the ash on their head.
Yeah.
Okay. And they never shaved their hair on their legs at that time.
It became cool to be Puerto Rican once they got Rosario Dawson as a spokesperson.
Now Lent remains until Easter, right?
Yeah, it's 40 days.
It's 40 fucking days you got to give up something?
Well, if you're a good Catholic, yes. I'm not.
But wait a minute, there's no such thing as being a bad Catholic, because if you're a bad Catholic, they, they excommunicate you.
Well, if you're a bad Catholic, then you've got a naughty dominatrix nun.
Yeah. Wow. Well, anyway.
Tough world.
So but let's say you're going to be a good Catholic. Let's pretend for a moment. because we know there's no God. Otherwise, why would you be in the situation you're in? Why is it? Can I ask you this question? I want to know, as somebody who is I think I used to refer to you on the Sirius show as a gimpoid American. Why it is that some of these people who have just this tragic, horrible thing, you know, which yours I don't want to even put in that category because you've handled it so well that you've made it your life rather than, you know, than just giving into it. You just go on living life. But people who have like just horrible stories to tell and they go, but as long as I believe in Jesus, my Lord and Savior, blah, 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 I would say, fuck you, God. Why'd you do this to me? You know, I was a good human being. I was a decent human being. Why the fuck did you do this to me?
Wah.
Yeah, wah.
I mean, like for me, I've never lost my faith. It just, you either have your faith or you don't. And it you know, I explained it to somebody once that faith is a lot like love. It either is or it isn't, and you know you have it or you don't. It's not something that you can force on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people, they do lose their faith over some tragic thing that happens. Others, like me, never lost it. Others, they go deeper into it. It's an individual thing, and it's the way that you, I think the way that you're either raised or the way that you kind of fix things in your head.
Yeah, but did you ever go through a period where you went in, after this thing happened, into a period of deep depression?
No.
No.
Actually, I had, it was 5, I may have brought this up before, but there's a book called Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah.
And it's about a gentleman. He was a professor at Brandeis University,
mm-hmm.
and he got Lou Gehrig's disease.
Right.
And one of his students saw him on TV with Ted Koppel, and Ted Koppel was doing a story about dying. And this guy was dying. So he got in touch with a teacher again, and he would fly out from Detroit to the East Coast every Tuesday, and they would do like a class. One would be on love, anger, things like that. And the guy wrote a book then about this. Well, I read it before I got paralyzed, not knowing I was going to become paralyzed. And what he said in the book was, as he was losing the ability to do everything,
mm-hmm.
he would allow himself about 5 minutes every morning to cry and to feel sorry for himself, and then he'd just get on with the day. So what happened with me is I mean, that book came right back to me, and the first week that I was in the hospital, I cried myself to sleep and just kind of wondered why me, what the fuck happened. And then I said, finally, you know what? Fuck it. You're either going to learn how to live with it or you're not. And it was at that point where I just stopped. No, I never went into depression. I was told I needed to be depressed by a psychologist, but I wasn't. I had my sights set on getting back to work and getting back to life, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's an old joke about a old Jew who suddenly becomes paralyzed or whatever, and he looks up at the skies and says, "Dear God, why me?" And then there was a bolt of lightning and a voice that came from the heavens and said, "Because for some reason you piss me off." Did you ever get that feeling? Maybe you just pissed him off. You know, he just didn't like you. You were a Republican. He didn't like you. You know, and that's why.
Can't say that about Patrick or me.
What? Oh, yeah.
Well, a Republican, he didn't like us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you realize we have the 2 Republicans on the top and the 2 liberals on the bottom?
Oh, mine's showing up differently. I got you across the bottom.
Oh, you got me across the bottom. We all show up differently on Skype. But anyway, on the screen, as people are looking, there's Patrick, and there's Phil, and there's Rob, and there's Jeff. And we'd love to have more people here, but I love this batch, you know. Let's talk for a moment about, is there anything in the news that bothers any of you people at all? There goes Patrick.
What the fuck is up with those portraits? It's up with those portraits, and I heard, you know, the former president of 3 different kind of fucking flowers, one from Kenya, one from Hawaii, and one from Chicago. Mm-hmm. It looks like he's stuck in an ugly-ass painting. It's a nice portrait of him in an ugly painting. And Michelle Obama's, the whole thing is for shit.
Well, you know something? I said that to my wife. I said, Michelle Obama's picture is really crappy. Okay?
There's stuff about the artist. That artist did some other art that was questionable.
Well, all I know is that
chopped off heads, or
I don't know about that. Was that the guy? Because the woman who did the picture of Michelle. The problem with it is, it's
really ugly.
It looks like it was done by a 3-year-old. You know, it just wasn't artful enough, and girlfriend thinks it was lovely. And I went, what about that is lovely? Now, I kind of understand the Obama one. You know, I think you may not like it because it's kind of screwy. But there's something about...
These are going to hang in the White House?
No, the National Gallery.
Oh, okay, because I figured they were doing it to upset Trump. Put in a piece of art that he wouldn't like. No.
I think there's already an official portrait of Obama on the walls in the White House. I think they did it during his last year that he was there, and I seem to remember them unveiling it.
Oh, was the Warhol looking one that said "Hope and Change" underneath?
No, that wasn't Warhol. It was this guy. He helped win him the campaign with that piece of art. I got to tell you, that was
he stole it from Andy Warhol.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, it looked just like a Warhol.
No, it doesn't look like a Warhol. Nothing like a Warhol.
Yeah.
Well, you look like an asshole, and I'm not,
Yeah. The one with the 4 pictures looked like a rip from Andy Warhol.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
No.
No, it didn't.
No. I'm saying, no, it didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Michelle Obama's painting, everything looked, it's just flat. It's almost as if it's like
2-dimensional, wasn't it?
What that?
2-dimensional is the best way to describe it.
2-dimensional. It's not 3-dimensional.
Yeah, it's like a really good Asian in art class did it. Understand form and understand how the eyes fit, and but it's just ugly as sin. And she is a very beautiful lady, and.
It's like a child's painting of her, is what it is. His is a little more studied and a little more photorealistic,
Yes.
But I looked at it and he didn't get the face exactly. There's something. I mean, yes, for the most part, it looks. You'd say, oh well, that's Barack Obama, but there's something about the face that isn't exactly Barack Obama. Which reminded me, do you know what I think is the worst piece of art in Washington, D.C.?
Piss Christ?
You always bring up Piss Christ. One guy does something called Piss Christ, and you never forget it.
I brought it up for Lent.
Anyway, I know people are going to yell at me about this. The Martin Luther King Memorial looks nothing like Martin Luther King. And on top of it, it was done by a Chinese statue maker. What do they call him? Chiseler.
Chiseler.
Who chiseled this out of stone and made managed to make, and nobody ever mentions this because you're not supposed to say things about a monument to Martin Luther King. They made him look Chinese. Am I right or wrong?
Was the Chiseler a Batman character?
No, but it could have been. Very good. Yes, Patrick.
I remember when that was unveiled that there was controversy about exactly what you said, that he has a Chinese or Asian look about him. And there were, I don't know if it was King family members that there was some division in the family of who liked it and who didn't, but it got approved. And yeah, it's not very nice.
We could get sued for that, by the way, doing that.
Okay, there's your Coke bottle, Andy Warhol.
I don't remember that as being an Andy Warhol. I think that's a knockoff.
It is. It's.
Does it say Andy Warhol?
Coke bottles by Andy Warhol. That's an Andy Warhol style painting.
Yeah.
Now, you're not telling me that the Hope and Change.
No. Actually, what it looks like is someone who photoshopped it and solarized it into two different colors.
Okay, here's one of Andy Warhol.
Look, you're not going to prove it to me. I know Warhol's work.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and you don't think the Hope and Change had that?
Not at all. Didn't have that effect at all. What do you think, Patrick? You disagree. Jeff disagrees. You're trying to prove your point. You're not making it.
Hey, I'm looking at this and I'm saying it has a striking similarity.
A striking similarity. Okay. Fucking.
Oh, you should advertising still free this week. Thursday and Friday, I'm shooting 2 shows.
Oh, okay. Well, we did fine the other day without you, so
I understand. I want you to do fine again.
Well, who knows? I mean, if I only wind up having 2 people or something, I'll sign off early and go to sleep. What the hell?
That's the threat. You never do.
Huh? That's always the threat. What I'll tell you what my big mistake was. I sandwiched myself between 2 shows. So if I made myself the last show of the night, I could say, I'm getting a little tired. Let's cut this off, okay?
Nice. Run a rerun.
See you later. What?
Just push the button, run a rerun.
Because you're not here? No, I have to prove the show can be great without you.
Low turnout, and you don't feel good, just push the button.
Well, anyway, I'm not going to have a low turnout. Fridays are always good. We had almost a full house the other night when you weren't here. And we manage. I know you've lost interest in the show, and you're taking nights off.
A friend of mine used to be with this band called Crown of Thorns, which used to open for the not Kinks, the Kiss. It's a metal band. Well, he's got a new band, and I'm shooting it up in Novato because he needs some photos. And then the UC Theater is having me shoot a band called Lotus. Which has been around for a long time. But,
by the way, anybody see this thing that CNN is running? They're doing this this mini series on the kidnapping and the renegade life of Patty Hearst.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No, not yet.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I lived through it. I was in San Francisco at the time of the Patty Hearst kidnapping.
Yeah,
and so it was front and center.
Well, the Hearst family wouldn't talk to them, but they did get the guy that kidnapped her. His name is, I'm trying to remember his name now. He had his wife Emily. He and his wife Emily were the 2 of the kidnappers.
Okay,
Harris, yes, Emily Harris, and I can't remember his name. He's on it, and so is Stephen Weed, her boyfriend. Remember the one she was engaged to?
Yeah, the one who said take her?
No.
They were living together.
According to this story, they beat the shit out of him.
Really?
They were hitting with the butt of rifles and crap like that, And the guy said, I think it was Sam and Emily Harris. I think that's who it was.
Sam Harris? I don't think it was Sam, no.
Or then it's another name, Harris.
Emily Harris.
Let's see here. Anybody coming up with anything here? Forbin, you just make nothing but remarks on the page. That's fine with me, you know. But no, I watched it. It's not bad. I watched the first episode. I'm going to watch the second episode tonight. And then it goes on, I think, for like about 4 or 5 weeks.
It's 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
6 episodes, yeah.
And then there's another show that's only 6 episodes, Waco, which is about what happened in Waco. And it's very good. It's excellent. The only thing I can't get used to is David Koresh's wife, his first and main wife, okay, is played by Supergirl.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I've been watching it, and I watched it was on A&E or something like that, where it was a 2-night special.
Yeah.
And it was already there were like 400 audio recordings that have never been released to the public.
Was that the FBI agents going, "Oh shit"?
And the negotiators. So it was a very good documentary. It was 4 hours. It was over 2 nights.
Yeah.
And I started this Waco thing.
Yeah.
And I, just like you, Alex, I'm watching it, and I'm going, who the hell is that? Wait, that's Supergirl.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's good, good series.
Yeah, what I like about it. Oh, by the way, Forbin writes, Alex, you're supposed to engage your live audience. Damn you! You broke the YouTube. Anyway, what I find interesting about it is they almost what happens every now and then. I hear my voice coming back, just one word at a time or something. Huh?
I have a question.
Wait a
Is
minute,
your audience alive?
What?
I thought that your audience dies off as the show gets.
No, actually,
goes on
what I find now with YouTube, as we get towards the end of the show, the number gets bigger and bigger. Really, I'm serious. Anyway, let me.
Mine's this long.
Can I finish the story? What I was going to say. The thing is that what I like about the series is they kind of portray Koresh in a somewhat more benevolent picture. I mean, in other words, he looks like he was the victim of a clusterfuck.
Sort of, he was.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't like what he was doing, and I think he was the victim of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, they had Ruby Ridge, which was one major clusterfuck. And then they come down, they do this thing where all he does is go out the front door to try and make peace, and they start shooting at him. You know, and I'm sure they're not lying about any of this stuff, but it paints a little more of a realistic picture of what went on, and you kind of have, even though Koresh, he's not a bad guy. He's just deluded. You know,
did they have agents on the roof, and they were peering into like a bathroom window, and they shot them?
Yes, because they had just shot them and killed about 10 of them inside the building, including babies. You know, so what are you going to do? You're going to just sit there and let somebody come through your window because you know they got rifles and they're going to start shooting some more? That's why I'm calling it a clusterfuck.
You don't think they were paranoid?
Oh, I would be, wouldn't you, after something like that? You go out with your hands up, you say, all we want is peace, and all of a sudden they start shooting, and they're killing people inside the building, and there are women and children in that building? You know. Yeah. Yes, Patrick?
None of the kids were shot. All of the children that died, they burned to death.
Really? Okay.
And the thing is, the reason that I really enjoy this series, and I agree with you, where it shows him as more benevolent, down to earth, is the documentary that I watched was a very two-sided documentary where it, because of the recording that you heard, him talking to the negotiators and to whomever the FBI people were, it really gave a good. It was a lot like the movie Tora Tora Tora.
Yeah.
Where you gave the Japanese side and the American side. What his documentary did the same thing, and it interviewed 9 survivors of the Waco incident
Yeah.
who are still Branch Davidians. And they still attend, a couple of them attend the new church there. Others have moved away for obvious reasons. And in this series, I was curious to see how it was. And it's doing the same thing. It's showing a good mix, and it shows both sides. And it shows, what's his name, Del Toro telling everybody, you know, they know, just don't do it. It's not going to be a surprise. And that was the same thing in the documentary. So, and yeah, it was Janet Reno's not her finest hour when they finally get the go-ahead. So all of it, in the documentary, there was this
so far,
yeah.
So far we haven't seen Janet Reno in this series.
Well, not yet. At the end of the documentary that I watched, there was an ATF agent or FBI agent, I'm not sure what. He walked by a concrete building, or what was left of it, and he said, and this is where there were like 22 children basically melted together.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where the children died. And those children were not allowed to leave because those were David Koresh's direct descendants who were going to be the, what did he call them? They were going to be they were going to be like the next kings of heaven or whatever it is. All of the other children and people that were released were not his kids. But the adults that stayed there wanted to, and the children that stayed there had no choice because they were his blood children. And they all died in the fire.
The reason that building went up like that was because it was handmade by him and by his followers, and it was badly made.
And one of the followers that was interviewed in the documentary remembered someone yelling inside the building, no, you're supposed to pour it outside. And they were referring to gasoline. So they had basically set themselves up to burn to death. And what was supposed to happen, from what the survivor said, is they were supposed to set up some sort of a fire line outside to try to keep the agents out. And somebody mistook the direction from Koresh.
Oh, wow.
Put the gasoline all inside. So not only you're correct with it was shittily built, but then you add some sort of accelerant to it inside.
I thought it was smoke bombs and
well, no, the smoke bombs had something to do with igniting it, but because all that fuel was inside, the thing just went up in flames. I mean, that thing, I remember when it went up, it was burnt to the ground within 20 minutes or something, you know. It was, you know, but it is a gigantic clusterfuck, and I just find I love the fact that they're not playing Koresh as a bad guy. They're playing him as a deluded human being who really doesn't believe this kind of thing can be going on. I think
it was Clinton's AG that ordered up
Janet Reno. Yeah.
Janet,
yeah. Not one of her proudest moments. I'm wondering now, in this series, they haven't done it yet, if they're going to show the guy who did the Oklahoma bombing, because he was in the area watching this all go on.
They showed him in the documentary because they had still photos in the documentary.
What was his name? I forget his name now.
The guy that blew up the building with the manure in the truck.
Yeah. What his name? Well, they showed a photo of the crowd, and they showed him there. So that'll be interesting if he is in the series as well.
As a side note, I would do that in the drama. You know.
Oh yeah, it's accurate.
Because they started getting like a whole audience there watching this go on day in and day out. And and they, Michael Shannon plays the FBI agent who tries to, bring him out and so on. And it's really, I think it's a very good series. I think
I looked it up. It was Timothy McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh. Thank you. Otherwise, that would have been burning in my brain all night until 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd be lying in bed and going, "Oh, Timothy McVeigh," one of those kind of things. What did you think about our president and his tweet about the Me Too movement?
I think that he was right on with that, because he's saying what's happened to due process. It's what you've been saying all along.
Oh no, I can't disagree with the tweet, Rob.
I'm going to tell you that I don't think he meant it for the same reasons, because he doesn't give a damn about the women in the movement. So yes, part of it. Think about his background. Think about his background. To begin with,
I agree with you. I agree with you totally, Rob. It's like I said earlier. It's the classic example of a broken clock being right twice a day. That this particular tweet, in and of itself, taken with none of the stuff that surrounded it, be it Trump, be it Rob Porter, be it any of those people, because it was self-serving. All right. But taken by and of itself, I can't disagree with it because it's a position I've taken. But we know why he wrote it. So it had an ulterior motive. And I think that's what we question in all of this. Well, and secondly, I don't think he wrote it because I've never seen one of his tweets be that well written.
Well, it's one of his own causes, right? I mean, let's face it.
No, but I mean, he said some women are right, some women are wrong, some men are right, some men are wrong. I mean, the way it's created, it looks like a speechwriter wrote it.
Did anybody catch the session today with the FBI? How they ripped apart what the White House has been saying about the whole Porter chain of events. They told the FBI, everybody's wondering how it is that this guy Porter has been with he doesn't have a security clearance.
Right.
He has a temporary clearance. And the White House is saying that they just learned about all this when the pictures came out, within the last week or so. Well, they were told, the FBI told them, the FBI informed them. They interviewed the director of the FBI this morning. The Senate did. I believe it was the Senate. It might have been Congress. One of the two bodies interviewed them this morning, and he said, "Oh, the FBI told the White House not once, not twice, but 3 times, and as early as last March, that this was happening."
Yeah.
So now the White House is scrambling because their timeline's all fucked up.
Until there was proof. When they presented that picture, that was the end of Porter. When they presented the picture, the black eye of the ex-wife, that was the end of Porter.
In the meantime, you got a guy
innocent, and that's what Trump said. The guy said he was innocent. What happened to due process?
In the meantime, you've got a guy in the Oval Office handing Trump all kinds of he's compromised. He could be blackmailed. He has been right there with Trump this entire time, handing him the things that he doesn't read that he should be reading.
But he did a good job doing it.
All I'm saying is you've got, what did they say, 7 people still in the White House who don't have clearances? Why don't they have clearances? Because the FBI isn't clearing these people. Yet nobody tells the president, or maybe there's no law that says, you know what, if you can't get cleared in 3 months, you're gone.
It should be that way.
It should be that way.
Yes, Patrick.
I think I mentioned it last week. Kimberly Guilfoyle offered a 5, was a prosecutor and an attorney. She explained part of this whole thing with Porter. And I think it also goes to these other 7 that are not cleared, is if there's something that they're contesting in their background, the FBI has to go back and examine their background. Therefore, that's why it's taken this long.
Right.
And I agree, there should be something like, just like at a job where you have a 90-day probationary period, it should be something like 90 days. If you're not cleared within that period.
Well, let me say, I was with the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service when I was in the Navy, as you know, and when I first went there, they put me in for top secret clearance because there was a code room in this building, so anybody who worked in the building had to have top secret clearance. And I was there for a year and a half, and on my day being mustered out, they told me that the clearance had just come through. Okay, so I know it does, sometimes they are not. And by the way, in spite of, I got my top secret clearance in spite of the fact that my cousin was a communist. So, I mean, it was laughable to me. But, I mean, they never kicked me out. Yeah.
So I work in the D.C. area in IT, right? Yeah. And I have been to, I know plenty of people who are top secret cleared, super top secret. They're all levels.
The next level over top secret was the one that people who worked inside the room had, which is crypto top secret.
But here you go. For these particular jobs, where just because you're in a top secret area doesn't mean, in other words, if they let you in and they give you a temporary, you are completely shielded from any top secret information until you get that clearance. You could work in the building, but yet the White House will allow the most sensitive data inside the Oval Office. They'll allow Now, this guy never got a clearance, Porter, and yet he had all kinds of access to.
Well, I could say that it was in such a way that any idiot could read that material, and the only problem was the only idiot that should have been reading it can't read.
Can't read, right?
Well, I work and I have access and I have clearances that get me into federal buildings and so forth to put in the floor covering. And, they had to clear not only me, but all of my guys. So
I find that funny for some reason, that laying carpet, you have to have clearance.
You're in sensitive areas.
Right, I get that.
I got your sensitive area right here.
So, yeah, you're in New York too long. But I have a buddy that got a Q clearance because he was doing translation in Afghanistan. And they actually called me because he worked for me. And this is the Q clearance goes back to your third grade teacher. Now, even though he was an Afghani, they got him that. The guy who taught me how to shoot also had a Q clearance because he was in charge of taking over security on nuclear submarines when they come into the Bay Area.
You mean nuclear?
His Marine team would go in and take over security as they entered. And that one, he told me that at the time they spent $50,000 to do this, and they did talk to his third grade teacher, but he got it pretty quickly. I think if they want to clear you, you can get it, and you can get it quickly.
But that's the thing, right? You've got this guy who can't get cleared, and yet he's allowed to. I mean, what were they waiting for? Why didn't they want to get rid of this guy?
Trump is saying that there are people in the FBI that are sabotaging the system. Hey, that's what he's saying, and maybe it's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this then with the whole thing. It is like General Kelly. Shouldn't he step in then and say, look, these idiots are not cleared. They're not allowed in the Oval Office. They're not allowed in the West Wing. They can sit out in the fucking lobby.
Absolutely.
Until they are cleared. They don't have to be removed from their position, but they're not allowed to see anything that has this type of classification.
But you forget that he has become Trump's bitch.
Yep.
They thought that Flynn was going to be his Jiminy Cricket, but he turned out to be his bitch.
I thought it was. You're talking about the general, or you're talking about?
I'm talking about general. General
staff.
Kelly. Excuse me. Why did I say Flynn? General Kelly. He was brought in to be Jiminy Cricket, and he wound up being Trump's bitch.
I don't know. I think he's been keeping them more on the straight and narrow than anyone else has.
I mean, it must be that he likes Trump because Trump grabbed him by his pussy.
They just ignore all the rules. That's all. Whatever, clearances. His son-in-law doesn't have a clearance yet. Hasn't gotten it yet. Why? What is going on in his background that he doesn't have this clearance? And why isn't anybody screaming that he shouldn't be allowed to be involved in anything until he gets cleared?
Well,
the job.
By the way, Jeff has something to say.
Yeah, my experience with the security business is when I got a job in a sophisticated area, I was allowed to start right away to work, and I was in the building, and nobody really gave me any restrictions on anything. However, it took about a year and a half.
That's about it took with me.
To get approved. And yourself, after that, I left.
I was mustered out of the Navy maybe a week later after they called me in. They said, "Congratulations, you've just been approved for top secret clearance." Oh, really? I'm leaving next week.
I went into a different building, and it was totally non-secret, and I was approved.
Meanwhile, I've walked out with every secret I could find in this building in the last year and a half.
Do you remember what clearance level you were going for that took so long?
I think it was just top secret. Top secret clearance. And it was only because in the building, it had nothing to do with the fact that I was doing broadcasting for Armed Forces Radio, but in the middle of the building was this concrete bunker, literally, in the middle of the main floor, and inside was a code room. And that's the reason why we had to have the top secret clearance.
What about you, Jeff? Do you know what kind of clearance you're going for?
I'm not quite sure what it was called. I will tell you one thing. I was working on this airplane that had atomic bombs on it. How's that?
Well, that would have been Q.
That would be enough, But,
well, you certainly can keep a secret.
That's right.
I had the lowest form of clearance, and it took about 6 months to do, and I was allowed to work.
What's the lowest form? Trump clearance?
Public trust.
Oh, public trust. Oh, God.
Well, what we got was these access clearances that allowed us to come and go. But it was easy. They took an electronic thumbprint. You filled out some stuff. Some investigator called you back in a week, and you had your pass.
I always worried about stuff. So the minute they started going for my clearance, I worried that they would find out about my communist cousin and first cousin. And I worried about that for about a couple of months, and then I saw that nothing was happening. So I just forgot about it totally. And then all of a sudden, about a week before I was being mustered out, they came to me and they said, "Oh, by the way, we just got the information. You've been cleared." I go, "Oh, good."
Your communist cousin got cleared 6 months before.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, I got interviewed by the FBI for my clearance. The guy came in and when he asked me about my wife, he asked me about, my wife's from the Philippines. He said, if you ever need a top secret clearance, it's going to take forever because they need to travel to the Philippines and talk to all your relatives, and he said you'll have a lot of trouble getting a top secret clearance.
Well, this was in L.A. I lived in San Francisco. That was about it. I mean, they could fly up there for a day and find out everything about me.
What were you, 18,
the only thing was,
20?
I mean, I was worried. I was like, I won't say I was, but I was the closest thing to a red diaper baby you can imagine. My parents were real lefties, and my cousin and her husband were members of the Communist Party. Okay, so I kind of worried about it. I had concern because I didn't want them to put me back on a fucking boat. That was a horrible experience. We went out once, and I threw up for the whole trip. I'm sitting there in the mess hall as the boat is starting to take off, right? And it's on the water and it's moving, and I'm having soup. And in the bowl, it's kind of going. Let me put on my full. It's going like this in the bowl, and all of a sudden I notice it going like this in the bowl, and all of a sudden I start getting queasy.
What were you on, a rowboat?
I was on a cruiser. Which I thought. See, they asked me what kind of boat I wanted to be on. A ship, excuse me, not boat. And I said, put me on a what do you have? And they said, oh, well, we've got an aircraft carrier. I said, too big. And they said, we've got destroyers. We got a destroyer. And I went, nah, they go around destroying stuff, you know. And then they said, well, we do have the USS Topeka, which is a cruiser. And I said, oh, cruiser, that kind of zips around the water. It's a little boat, right? The cruiser. It sounds like something you buy from Chris Craft, a cruiser, right? And so I get myself, I get myself this cruiser, and I walk down the pier, and I don't know one boat from another, and I'm looking over at these small boats and saying, which one of these is the Topeka? And I said to somebody, which one of these is the Topeka? And they said, oh, that's not where the Topeka is. And they point over to the ship. There's this massive fucking ship. I said, oh, I thought these little small things were cruisers. And they said, no, that's a destroyer. So that was my, and all cruise ships are named after cities. Okay, I think capital cities, actually.
You have a Jane's?
I don't have a Jane's, but I do have a penis. No, what happened was, let's see here. Cruisers are named after cities, and I think they're usually capital cities because Topeka is the capital of Kansas. Aircraft carriers are named after war heroes, basically. USS Forrestal, things like that. I think, no, wait a minute. I think there's an aircraft carrier, the Enterprise.
That's the big one that's in San Francisco.
But destroyers are all named after people, just people who were friends of the president. Huh? What were you saying? I'll get you in a second.
There was an aircraft carrier that was in San Francisco here for a long time in the 70s and 80s. But what's the ships that they name after presidents, like Gerald Ford and all of those? I thought those aren't aircraft carriers.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. I'm trying to remember now. I used to know all that shit.
But the next destroyer is going to be called the SS Stormy.
Yeah, right. SS Stormy. Yes, Patrick.
Well, some news flash about the $130,000 payment. Now, saying I think they said it was Trump's money. I don't know. It just
it was Trump's lawyers. Trump's lawyer paid it at a personal. Yeah.
I see.
Okay, Patrick.
Yeah, I just wanted to let Phil know that even an aircraft carrier gets bounced around in the water like a little bobber, depending on what type of storm it's in. So doesn't matter how big the ship is.
I was on a guided missile frigate.
Well, the Topeka was a guided missile cruiser. Okay. It had been retrofitted to be a guided missile cruiser, however, and when they took it out for the first time, since it had guided missiles on it, and they shot the missiles out, they turned around and started heading for the ship. Because they were heat-seeking, and I think at the last minute they were able to deflect them or something.
Well, back a long time ago, a friend of mine got me into the Navy League, and it was the Beverly Hills Council of the Navy League. Well, it didn't take much; you just had to fill out an application. And so I went on a 3-day thing out of Long Beach, where for $5 a day, and that was back then. They gave you a cabin. You ate with the captain. And you just went out and relaxed. It was a great.
It's called a Viking cruise, okay?
A Viking cruise. Yeah. Well, anyway, they still do that, and it was it was an enjoyable time.
I don't know if you've ever been on an aircraft carrier. Those things are huge. They're like a city inside.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, aircraft carriers. Very named the USS Enterprise was one of them, and the one that I saw in Pearl Harbor come in with the USS John Dennis. And I was just going to say, like a city, because we had to wait about 3 hours before we could go out to the Pearl Harbor Memorial. Well, this thing was coming in, so we had to wait for all the choppers to come in and all this shit. And the thing finally came into port. And then we took our little craft that we were in to go out to Memorial.
Yeah.
And you go right next to the carrier. Now, you're still maybe 200, 300 yards away from it. But looking up, that fucking thing looked like the Empire State Building, and you figure that's just what above the water. I can imagine, I mean, just you figure half of that is below the water as well. And then the other thing that I did is I went on the USS Missouri for a tour. There's no way in hell I could be in the Navy, because when I got on that battleship, I mean, from a distance it looked big, but walking bow to stern, and it only took a couple of minutes, there's no fucking way I could live in that. And then
through the doors.
We did a tour inside. No,
was this, you say, a battleship?
Yeah, the USS Missouri.
They don't make them anymore. They stopped making battleships.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if there are many of them left at all.
No, if you remember, the Missouri was taken out of mothballs along with the Wisconsin during the Gulf War in '91. And then after the war, the Missouri went back to Pearl Harbor and was put there as a memorial. And I mean, it's quite an interesting deal to go through.
Yeah.
But there's no way I could.
By the way, have you ever seen a ship in mothballs?
Yes.
Because because near the Bay Area, up near Vallejo, there was literally a whole base of mothballed ships when I was a kid.
On the Hudson River, there was a mothball fleet as well, right over by West Point.
Yeah. What do they do? What did they do with them finally? Sink them, or what do they do with them?
Cut them up.
Cut them up, literally.
Yeah, they cut them up, and for the steel.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
I was looking, the number of fleet aircraft carriers still in operation by nation, and so of all the countries that they list, there's 21 aircraft carriers currently in use. 11 of them are in the United States, and the other country that has the most is China. They have 2.
we have how many?
11.
11.
They're going to beat us without any of that stuff.
Yeah, because today in Congress, before a congressional committee, I can't remember who said it, but one of these people testifying said that his greatest fear is that we owe so much money to China, all they have to do is make the bill come due. We owe them something like most of our national debt.
It's a good thing we have a president that doesn't pay his bills.
But all China has to say is, we want the money. And we're gone.
France did that to us with the gold standard. You remember, they said, hey, we don't want these cash notes. We want the gold. And we had to and did deliver gold to France.
Yeah. And, of course, the other big news is the tales being told on a reality show by Omarosa.
You know why they fired her? She was misusing automobiles that in the White House that she wasn't supposed to use. And that's why she was fired.
Really? I never heard that.
Well, I read it. I read it this morning, and then
where did you read it?
It was like one of those New York Times articles. It was a legitimate article. The other thing about Omarosa was she was taking advantage of things like when she had her wedding. She brought the wedding party through the White House, and she wasn't supposed to do that. Yeah. So she'd done a number of things, but this one was over a car fleet or misuse of automobiles. Can you find it?
Okay, here we go. Omarosa used strictly forbidden White House car service for her commute.
Right. So and they said that's why they fired her.
Oh man, that's terrific. That's really wonderful.
I think she was a little bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah, but on the other hand, She got hired by Trump.
Yeah.
You know, a loose
How do you
cannon.
put her there?
I mean, he had her on The Apprentice 3 times. He should have known she was a loose cannon.
No, but she was a trusted employee. And who knew that when she got into a position that she could misuse her power or think that she had power, and she obviously misused it.
Here's what happened with all of them. It happened with Trump, too. It's happening with Trump right now. He has this misguided idea that being president, you can do anything you want to do. You know, that you just wave your hand and make it so. Well, I'm sorry. There's no way it goes. You know, it's just not the way it goes. And Omarosa probably was just going along with that notion. Hey, here I got a bunch of cars, strictly forbidden to use them, but I could use them to take my commute to work.
Now, do you think she was using Trump's presidential limousine to go back and forth to work? I mean, what cars could they possibly have that she couldn't use?
I don't know what they would be, but I would. If she couldn't use them, she did. You know, right. And that's the point. You know, all of these people have just the wrong idea about what, you know, being president doesn't give you power. It tells you what the powers are that you have and what you can do, not that you can make up, you know? And, I mean, everything that he's done recently, everything he's done over his time as president has been one case of obstruction of justice after another.
We'll see.
I mean, trying to firing Comey was obstruction of justice. The fact that he asked people for their loyalty was, I'm doing this because I feel like I'm going to sneeze, was an obstruction of justice. I mean, there's a lot of obstruction of justice that went on. I think that if what's his name ever gets far enough in this probe and is allowed to continue, Trump's in for a big world of hurt.
They're saying that Hillary and Comey, that there was some issues going on with them, that and some of these things were ordered by Obama, as far as some of the spying.
Who said that? Who said that?
You're going to ask me that, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I can remember that as easily as you can remember. You know, I don't remember.
Well, I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter what Hillary did or didn't do. It doesn't matter what Obama did or didn't do. It matters what Trump is doing because he's president now. Okay.
Well, he's going after those guys.
And wait a minute. And wait a minute. And even let's say their behavior was abominable, which it wasn't, but let's just say that it was. It don't mean shit to a tree. It doesn't take the onus off of Trump for all the things he's done.
Well, their claim to fame is that the FBI is holding back stuff in order to impede Trump. And so, yeah, we'll see when the full investigation comes out.
The FBI has spent their entire career trying to build a reputation on trying to sabotage presidents.
Yeah,
Come on.
You know, J. Edgar Hoover.
You know what? You know, you're a law and order guy, right? And yet here they are, all these law and order people, and they're sabotaging the FBI.
J. Edgar Hoover was the biggest blackmailer that ever existed.
Absolutely,
you know that he had
wait
files.
a minute. You guys are the law and order guys. You're the guys that should be saying, "Oh, don't assail the FBI. They're working in our best behalf."
Maybe they need to be assailed.
No, but wait a minute. Hold on a second. You're the law and order guys, and now you're trying to undermine the very thing that maintains that law and order.
I think from what we know about the FBI
it's just as hypocritical as being a bunch of people who say the national budget is just out of whack and then put it more out of whack.
Well, there must have been a reason.
There must have been a reason. He has added something like $2 or $3 trillion to the national debt, more money we owe to China, to the national debt. And he's the guy who said, "Oh, I'm going to curb all this. I'm going to bring the national debt down."
Well, there might have been things waiting in the wings.
Oh, Jesus. Now you're making excuses for it. If there are things waiting in the wings, you'll learn how to
One excuse. You remember the FBI.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what? Do you know what Paul Ryan wants to do? You know what Paul Ryan wants to do in order to take care of this national debt?
Yeah.
He wants
build a wall and charge to get across.
He wants to kill Social Security and Medicare.
I don't think he'll be able to do that.
But he wants to. He's going to bring that up as the way of solving it. Yes, Jeff has had his hand up, and since he hasn't said much.
I think Hoover died 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, it's time to let it go.
Okay.
Not necessarily because
I don't think he's active anymore.
Yeah, I think the sins of Hoover no longer plague the FBI. Okay.
In the Navy, if you start out with a good captain on a ship, it usually continues to be a good ship, no matter how many captains you go through. The thing about
I never heard that,
FBI
but I'm glad you made that one up.
The thing about the FBI is that Hoover ran that thing with iron fist for 30 or 40 years, and he was the only director, and I think until his death. And the thing was, he had files on everybody, and he held people sort of like in a blackmail. There were files about you, Alex, weren't there?
Yes.
Didn't the FBI have a file on you?
I still have them. I never went under the what do they call it, the Freedom of Information Act to get them, but I should have. But I know that there was a file on me because I know I was on Nixon's list of 12,000 people to be audited by the IRS.
So aren't all of these things abuses of power, and the FBI had abused that power
from the
beginning of time?
What somebody said here was that was 40 years ago. Okay. The point we're making about now, okay.
How can you say it doesn't matter?
The point we're making now is that I don't care how much you want to blame on other people. You've got to also blame Trump for what he's done. It doesn't excuse his bad behavior.
The FBI is corrupt. Maybe, because it was started.
And maybe the White House is corrupt. Maybe the White House is corrupt.
It may be, but the FBI was started and was a corrupt organization, from its beginning.
60, 70 years ago.
Hey, that's just, when you have a corrupt organization at the beginning, sometimes, you can hide it for a long time.
And so how does this make the behavior of Donald Trump better?
Trump is fighting against the system.
Oh, he doesn't like the man.
Yeah,
he doesn't like the man.
You got the least transparent fucking president we've ever had, and he's fighting against the FBI.
Hey, he's sticking it to the man.
Yeah, you better know it, and you're one of the men.
Right. Hey, I had this idea about opening up a coffee shop in Berkeley called Stick It to the Man Coffee. I was going to have nuclear-free coffee would be my decaf. It was just one of these ideas.
Nuclear? Yeah. How do you spell that exactly?
I figured every time that they bought coffee and they were sticking it to the man, I was the man, and they were giving me the money.
Jeff, you had your hand up?
Yeah, please. I think that let's consider the 20 years that the FBI didn't really screw up until Trump became president.
You mean the 20 years that they were holding on to so records? Well, it's 20 years they didn't get caught. Now Trump has finally called him on the carpet.
This is why we all love Phil and why we're happy he's going to be gone on Thursday and Friday. Hey, I got to go. First of all, thank you, Phil. Always enjoyable, in spite of the fact you make me want to piss my pants. Of course, Patrick, who doesn't have to piss his pants because all he has to do is
grab it and stab it.
Grab it and stab it. Thank you so much. Phil, Rob, thank you so much. Wonderful. And of course, Jeff. Jeff, where are you tonight? You still in Florida?
Yeah, I'm still in Florida.
Yeah, still in Florida. I noticed different environs around him.
Bragging about the temperature.
Anyway, that's pretty. It's pretty cool. Hey, listen, everybody. I think you should wave goodbye to our audience in order to let them know that you enjoyed them. Thank you to all of you tonight. Been a good show. That's it. I just got to hang up on these guys, and get rid of them so that the next show can use the phone lines. I have to do that while I'm still on the air. That's the way things go. Anyway, I will be here to begin with. Next, Jack and Amy do a very good show called The Intersection. You should call them. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, there's Connections. And then tomorrow night at 9:30, Damien with The Exchange, Jamie and Chaplin. And I'll be back again at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye.